Good Thursday morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Kaiser Report. I'm John here with Kaiser on the couch one more time to talk to you about some things that are going on and some funny visits to the View that were remarkable as far as getting them actually brought back into reality, and we'll see that in a little bit. But the big news is, we have a guy by the name of Bernie it is telling you that the oligarchs are taking over. And now we have him showing up on Bret Baier to talk about all of the things that are wrong and then gets caught in his own BS. Let me explain to you now what $2.5 million net worth of Bernie Sanders is bringing to the table. Well, he gets caught in his own BS, and he gets caught good on Bret Baier. Let's take a look right here.
Last thing, Alyssa Slotkin, senator from Michigan, she said you shouldn't be using oligarch. It's over people's head. You've gotten criticized from other people. Free Beacon says Bernie Sanders spent $221,000 on private jets fighting the oligarchy tour, paid for by friends of Bernie Sanders. That you've spent millions of dollars in campaign funds on private jet travel over the years. How do you push back on both of those things?
When's the last time you saw Donald Trump during a campaign mode at National Airport?
No, it doesn't. But he's also not fighting the oligarchy.
No. You run a campaign and you do 3 or 4 or 5 rallies in a week. The only way you can get around to talk to 30,000 people. Think I'm going to be sitting on a waiting line at United, waiting, 30,000 people are waiting? That's the only way you can get around. No apologies for that. That's what campaign travel is about. We've done it in the past. We're going to do it in the future.
And you think that this is hitting a mark? You think it's scratching the itch that voters want to hear from?
I think at a time when the people on top are doing phenomenally well, when seniors, working class people are struggling, people want to hear action to stand up to the people who have the wealth and the power and create an economy that works for all of us, not just the people on top. The people on top are doing phenomenally well.
Including you?
No apologies for that.
You ain't black.
No apologies for that.
He is so full of shit, this guy. Terrible.
Well, Bernie and AOC can run around all they want on the private jets and try to say that the lines at United are just too long, but, it's good enough for you and I, but God forbid that they need to actually go act like normal people and go through what we have to go through as a result of the stupid laws that they pass, sitting in seats of Congress, getting wealthier and wealthier by the day. And speaking of up-and-coming Democratic hopefuls, we have Mr. Newsom out in California campaigning for himself and not doing very good job at it when it comes down to what has happened to the state of California under the governorship of Newsom. Mr. Greasy, as he's called on some media platforms, has now started talking about how he's going to reopen the border in the future and so on, and then making the mistake after mistake of trying to convince people he's done a good job in the state of California. While we watched it burn, we watched the cities get inundated with homeless populations that were brought in during the open border crisis and put people at risk, really. If you look at the areas in San Francisco and in L.A. that have just been taken over by street people that are not being prosecuted for the minor thefts, as they call it, under $1,000 and so on. And we know how that is worked out for the state of California. It's very interesting that he believes that he is the new savior for the United States when he couldn't run a California is the largest state that we have, I think, but he had no problems there in trying to destroy that. Do we want to give him a chance to do what he's done in California to the rest of this country? I personally don't think that that would be a good idea, but some do, and there's an awful lot of people that are making the exodus from California and ending up in great states such as Texas and Tennessee, Alabama, and the South, and Florida, and they're bringing with them the same voting mistakes that they have made in California and are going to bring it into our states and try to make us look as bad as what all happened out there. And it's not fun. And, well, let's take a look at Mr. Greasy right here.
Governor Gavin Newsom asked reporters to meet him out here, about 2 miles east of the Otay Mesa port of entry. It doesn't look like much now, but he says in 3 years, despite Donald Trump's presidency, this will be an important new border crossing.
But I feel very passionate about this because I care about this state. We care about border security, but we also care about economic security. We care about this state.
We care about border security.
Since when?
Obviously, there have been some lawmakers in California who have said that there should be no cooperation with the Trump administration. As governor, are there any instances in which you expect to direct state resources to cooperate with the Trump administration?
Well, our approach has been consistent. We don't interfere with federal right to advance federal laws with federal resources. That California's posture remains. The federal government, we do not interfere in the federal government's right to enforce federal law using federal resources, period, full stop.
Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies.
Federal judge in California has blocked Border Patrol agents from arresting suspected undocumented immigrants unless they have a warrant or reason to believe the person might flee before a warrant is obtained.
You can't make this up.
Today's ruling only applies to the court's Eastern District of California, which is one of the largest in the country. The ruling also says agents cannot stop people without reasonable suspicion or return them to their country of origin unless they've been properly informed of their rights and agree to go.
California's posture remains. The federal government, we do not interfere in the federal government's right to enforce federal law.
The lie detector test determined that was a lie. No.
Well, hello there. I thought I heard new voices.
Buzz Lightyear, we coming.
First thing you gotta know about me, I'm a hugger. Oh, look at you all. You've been through a lot today, haven't you?
Oh, it's been horrible.
Well, you're safe now.
Well, let's just hope that he doesn't believe that he is going to go anywhere in the 2028 election. He probably will be on a stage with many others that believe that they can, if they do have a primary, can handle themselves against one another. But when they get on a stage with somebody that actually has the prowess and the wherewithal to understand the business of the United States, and it is a business, don't listen to these mainstream media jackasses that are telling you any different, because it is a business. It should be run like a business, And it has the probability of that happening in the next 3 years. Whether or not we have somebody that will continue it will be, I guess, part of a primary on the Republican side as well. And who knows, we may even see a third party coming up in this next few years that we have in front of us.
Giddy up.
So we all realize that Canada's new prime minister came to visit at the White House and got a faceful of what was going on in front of our press, and got set back a little bit at some points, and then tried to make his remark that excuse me, Canada is not for sale.
Mr. President, and Mr. Prime Minister, I'd like to get your response to this too, but Mr. President, you had said that Canada should become the 51st state. Were you joking?
No. Well, I still believe that, but it takes two to tango, right? I think that there are tremendous benefits to the Canadian citizens, tremendously lower taxes, free military, which honestly we give you essentially anyway because we're protecting Canada if you ever had a problem. But I think it would really be a wonderful marriage because it's two places that get along very well. They like each other a lot.
Well, if I may, as you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale.
That's true.
We're sitting in one right now, Buckingham Palace that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever. But the opportunity is in the partnership and what we can build together. And we have done that in the past. And part of that, as the President just said, is with respect to our own security. And my government is committed for a step change in our investment in Canadian security and our partnership. And I'll say this as well, that the President has revitalized international security, revitalized NATO, and us playing our full weight in NATO, and that will be part of it.
And they have, I must say, Canada is stepping up the military participation because Mark knew, they were low, and now they're stepping it up, and that's a very important thing. But never say never. Never say never.
I don't know how well that went over because at the end of everything in front of the news, our president said, well, we'll see. So there's still some negotiations left to go on there, but I believe that the tariff and trade part of it was kind of settled there in that meeting, and we'll hear more about that, I'm sure, in the very near future. So, Canada, what a mess you can be, but we'll see how that works out in the near future. So that brings us over to The View and a visit there by someone that had the knowledge and wherewithal to set those ladies straight for the first time to a point where they had to leave the air because they could not take what was being put in front of them. And it's always a pleasure to see them get put in their place. But this is outstanding, and it happened on two different segments there. And I think the first one was in their A block, and then maybe toward the end of the program they got into, what Obama left for Trump to do in the first Trump administration, which was, an out-and-out whoopee view that didn't fly right there. So I'm going to ask you to take a look at this because I found it wonderfully refreshing to see the faces on these morons as they try to spread more hate and discontent among the American population. Why this show is still in existence, on that channel, I don't know, but that's ABC's problem, and they'll deal with it in ratings more than likely. Will go down and down and down. They cannot have as big a following as anyone may imagine. And the audience there that is doing all the clapping and cheering for these moronic statements that these ladies make on a daily basis, and the spread of hatred that is happening among that group is unbelievable. So let's take a quick look here and see what you think. And remember, your comments are always appreciated here, so don't hold back. Tell me what you really think, and we'll go from there. Take a look.
Him tweeting out an AI-created image and the White House official account of him posing as the Pope is disrespectful, it is frankly disgusting, and it is outrageous. And so all of those devout Catholics that voted for Donald Trump, I think you need to ask yourself some questions, and I think you need to ask the White House and Donald Trump some questions, because Trump, Mr. President, it's his holiness, the Pope, not his oiliness, the dope.
And you're a sanctimonious joke. But look, the bigger picture is right here in my pocket, and I will pull it out. This is Rihanna dressed as a Pope. Olympics 2024, mocking Jesus Christ's last meal. Over here, camera, over here. Don't run, because Trump only posted a meme. But these are actual photos, and I don't see that same energy of yours, Anna, when it comes to Hollywood actually mocking God. This is Madonna on a cross as Jesus Christ.
We'll be right back. I do want to point out something, that he came in and Obama left him quite well off, left the nation well off. And Biden also left the country very well off. See, folks have to remember, we are very fickle in this country. We forget, you can be mad at one side or the other, but you have to stick with the facts. And the facts are, we left good stuff, he has pooped on it. Right. He has now taken us to a place where people are just being removed.
Illegals, Whoopi, when you say people are being removed, they are illegal immigrants and they are being deported. But about the timeline you just provided on the state of immigrants under the last 3 presidents, yes, Obama left him well off. He deported more illegals than Trump. And I don't think we're supposed to mention that. But the same trend continued under Trump's first term, and then Biden got in. He got in, opened the borders, and we saw the highest number of border crossings in U.S. history under his watch. And now Trump is cleaning that up. That is the actual timeline, okay? So, I find it ironic when you say, we forget what happened and we need to stick with the facts, while at the same time you rely on selective memory and you distort the facts.
Well, there you go. It is unbelievable what they think they can get away with on that program and continue to pull that off all of the time that they're on air. And I'll tell you what, these ladies, if you want to really go to the word ladies, is unbelievable. But there you go. So today, we need to take a little walk through Stupid Town one more time. You just visited part of Stupid Town, which is called The View, and we'll look at a little bit more of what's going on in the insanity of the Democratic defenders and Democratic Congress people that may be sitting in a seat of power that is beyond my imagination how they ever got there in the first place, and will they remain there when they're primaried or censured out of Congress. It's unbelievable. So let's take a look and a little walk down through Stupid Town today.
I think it's bringing us back to a 1950s America where segregation was legal. Who is to say that your African American daughter, because of her BMI, will be subject to the same kind of conversation? Who is to say if we move forth in this conversation that your daughter, who was born a female, would be subjugated and subject, I should say, to inspection of her genitals when she went up to the mount to play t-ball because she looked a little bit different from other folk?
You can't make that up. That's really how they designed this. What the hell were they thinking?
There's a slippery slope here. And it's also important for us to realize that the cruelty of not centering all Americans, how difficult that is. But it is ingrained in who we are to figure out how we love and support and not pathologize anyone.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
He looked a little bit different from other folk.
Elon Musk contributed $260 million to help elect Donald Trump. And Donald Trump turned around and gave Elon Musk the keys to the federal government. This had nothing to do with government efficiency. This had to do with cutting services that are important to every American in order to rig the government for people like Elon Musk and the billionaires.
What the hell is even that?
And in addition to that, they do say that they want to use the savings. They want to use the savings from closing Social Security offices. They want to use the savings from reducing services of Social Security. They want to use that to finance tax cuts for billionaires. Are we going to let them do that? Hell no.
Well, that's going to bring us to a Thursday close. It's hopefully you got a couple of chuckles out of a few things here today. And don't forget our sponsor, Lazy J Farms and Butcher Shop, and give them a call for your weekend needs. We ran their commercial here yesterday, and Butch is waiting for your call. So go get some fine meats and eggs, cheese products, and put them on the grill for this weekend and enjoy your weekend. And remember to always stay safe, stay strong, and stay tuned to the Kaiser Report for more memes and a look at what's taking place in our world today, in our country. And please say a prayer every day for our president and our country and the world of peace that we look forward to. Bye-bye now.
Lazy J Farms has been raising the finest cattle and all-natural pork for 3 generations on the family farm in Fall Branch. Their blonde Aquitaine herd offers a leaner, healthier, and more tasteful beef. And the butcher shop is local, farm to table, and 100% authentic. This is the way your grandfather shopped for me, with steaks cut to order, quality assured, and ready to ship to your door. Open Thursday through Saturday on Bloomingdale Road in Kingsport. Come see us.